What's up, everyone? Back for another beer review, and today just so happens to be Wednesday, which means it's time for another Western New York Wednesday here on the channel. And the beer that I'll be reviewing today comes from the Southern Tier Brewing Company, and they're out of Lakewood, New York, and this is their Cherry Cordial. So on the label here, they say it's an Imperial Stout, and then underneath it says a dessert beer with notes of chocolate and cherry. Comes in at 10% alcohol by volume, no IBUs listed, and at the time of this review, the beer is approximately 2 months old, so we should be fine. And on the side here, it says a decadent stout with notes of chocolate and cherry, and on the side they say ale brewed with chocolate and with natural chocolate and cherry flavor, so they're probably using real chocolate, and then they're using probably chocolate and cherry extract. So we'll see what's going on with this one. So before I get into the actual review for this beer, I just want to say that in my last vlog, I talked about how I'm going to start reviewing beers at least twice a week from breweries that you probably can get, bigger breweries. And Southern Tier fits the bill. They get distribution in over 30 states in the US, mostly on the East Coast and in the Midwest, but some states out west do get Southern Tier. And, you know, they're doing some big things lately. They partnered up with Victory a couple years ago. They opened up a joint brewery in, I believe it was Charlotte, North Carolina. They opened up a brew pub in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and I think they have another brew pub coming to Cleveland, Ohio later this year. So they're getting quite big. And as far as the Western New York aspect to Southern Tier goes, even though they're about an hour and a half to the south of Buffalo, New York, they are located in the Southern Tier region of Western New York, which obviously makes sense considering their name. So yeah, you're probably going to see more reviews from Southern Tier going forward. And this beer specifically is part of their Blackwater series, which is like their Imperial dessert beer series, mostly stouts. Some of the classic beers, their chocolate, their mocha, their creme brulee. Over the past few years, they started coming out with newer offerings, their chocolate orange stout, their salted caramel stout, and recently their thick mint stout and their Samoa this. This is the latest beer within the Blackwater series, so figured it'd be appropriate to give it a review. I mean, you know, it's only early August and like 90 degrees outside, but who cares? It's strictest 10% Imperial dessert beer. I don't really, I'll drink stouts whenever. So anyway, let's pour it into the Southern Tier glass here. Oh, a little dirty glass mafia, but ever so slightly. Pour it about halfway, and you know, we'll do the little swirl around here, try to get those off as best as we can. I don't use this glass a ton, so there's going to be a little bit of dirty glass mafia going on. I mean, I did wash it before using it, but what are you going to do? Anyway, pours out this, you know what, I call this more of like a deep brown color, like a murky brown color, not really straight on black. It had a finger of a light tan head that has dissipated to a thin film, and this beer is sweating. So Paul over at PA Brew News, I know this review is null and void like every other review I do because I'm terrible at this, but I put this in the fridge when we had that. There goes a motorcycle back. It's probably a dirt bike of some sort, but Jesus. I put it in the fridge when we were having that really hot weather because even in the basement it got warm, and I forgot to take it out beforehand, like, you know, a couple days beforehand. So I did take this out of the fridge about an hour ago. So it's pretty close to room temperature. So we're fine. Settle down, Paul. Anyway, let's get a nose on it. Oh, so cherry cordials I love, you know, the chocolate covered maraschino cherries with like sugar syrup. Those are fantastic as far as desserts go. And that's pretty much what I'm getting in the nose. Holy shit. I can't believe, just throw this over here. I can't believe how much it smells like a liquid, like a melted down liquid cherry cordial. Yeah, maraschino cherry for sure. Sweeter, big sweet cherries. More of like a dark chocolate vibe to this one. Like a sweeter, like Hershey's dark chocolate as opposed to like a, you know, 50, 60, 70% dark chocolate bar. There's a huge sweetness. This seems like it's going to be a dessert beer, right? They call it a dessert beer, dessert stout. But I'm wondering if this is going to be too sweet. They did say also that as far as like ingredients in this one goes, they're using an ale yeast, clearly. They're also using 1 variety of hops and 4 varieties of malts. And like I said, they didn't list on the website if they're using actual chocolate and cherry, but on the bottle it says chocolate and then flavors of chocolate cherry, so extract. Anyway, yeah, not a whole lot going on. Maraschino cherries, dark sweet chocolate, and that's really it. I don't know. I want to get into it. Cheers. See what it has. It's a bit thin. Paul, it's a bit thin. It's liquid down alcoholic cherry cordials. If you like cherry cordials like I do, you'll like this beer. The body, this is like medium to medium full body. Definitely thin at 10%, which doesn't, for me, usually not a problem when it comes to Southern Tier Blackwater series beers. They usually have a nice viscosity to it, a little bit of heft behind it. This one's a bit thinner than I anticipated. It's not, I was hoping it would be a bit creamy from that lactose. I don't know if I mentioned, but they do say it contains lactose sugar. So this is more like an Imperial Milk Stout, but it's not that creamy. I thought there'd be a bigger creaminess to the beer because of the lactose. So the body's a bit disappointing, as is the mouthfeel, but the flavor that's there is quite enjoyable. So yeah, that maraschino cherry I was getting on the nose, this confectionery sugar as well with the sweeter dark chocolate. There's also a slightly roasted malt character hanging around as well. Finish is sweet. It definitely is a sweet beer. I'm glad they put these Blackwater series now in the Blackwater series beers in 12-ounce bottles. They should just be strictly 22-ounce bottles. Usually was too much for me at 10%, and the sweetness some of these beers have. Should have no problem polishing that one off. But if you don't have a sweet tooth, this might even be too much for you. Yeah, it doesn't really have any like bitterness to kind of stop the sweetness. So I feel like after one of these, it's basically a one and done beer. That said, the flavor there is nice. So I'm enjoying the cherry cordial aspect to this. What it says on the label is what you get in the glass. The problem for me, keeping it from being like an awesome beer, is that body and mouthfeel. It's a bit too thin. It's not creamy enough from the lactose sugar, but it makes up for that lack of body and mouthfeel with the straight on cherry cordial flavor. So I think this is a very good beer, and I'm giving it an appropriate score. I'm going to give it a 4 out of 5. If it had a better mouthfeel and body, it might get 4.25, even a 4 or 5 range. And if there is a little bit of bitterness to balance it off and make it more drinkable, it would get even higher. But 4 out of 5 is appropriate. If you get Southern Tier in your area and you haven't tried this and you like their Blackwater series beers, give it a try. Just be forewarned that this beer is quite sweet, and if you don't have a sweet tooth, then you're probably not going to enjoy this as much as somebody who does, like myself. So that was Southern Tier Brewing Company's Cherry Cordial, the newest release in their Blackwater series. It gets a 4 out of 5 here on the Beer Patrol. Appreciate you guys stopping by for another Western New York Wednesday. We'll see you next week with another installment, and until then, please like, comment, subscribe, and cheers.